Here we are today for our first live full panel video here for the reserve squad. It's been a while since we put out a video. Now we got us all here together today.
Yeah.
How's everyone doing?
Good. Andy?
Doing pretty well, living pretty well. Can't complain. Another podcast. Good to see everyone here. Tyler, glad you could join us.
Yeah, I'm excited to be down here in Florida with you guys.
Yep, on your birthday nonetheless.
On the birthday, yes.
Happy
27,
birthday.
too old.
We won't talk about that. No, it's good. I'm glad we're all here. It's the first episode live. Hopefully we can do this while you're in town a few times.
Yeah.
Tyler, and kind of get into the mix of everything. We have some simple topics that we're going to cover today. Most importantly, Liverpool can't stay healthy, and it's really fun to watch, unless you're Frankie's. We're going to start with that. But make sure everyone follows us on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, however you follow us normally. Go ahead, hit subscribe, follow, what have you, share us with your friends, because it's a good time, and now you can see us all together instead of on Skype. So, Liverpool, let's start with you, Frankie. How you feeling about it all? Like, what's your emotion?
I mean, it's definitely not a happy one, but we're still third place in the table. So, I mean, with all the injuries we've had, and, a lot of critics are saying that we're not playing that good of football, but yet we're still doing pretty well in the league. So yeah. I think that's a good way to look at it for Liverpool fans. I mean, obviously we got Virgil out for the rest of the season. It's looking like maybe Robertson will be 2. Still waiting for the results of what's happening with Gomez, and then we got like 2 guys out with COVID right now. But
I think initial reports were saying something along the lines that he won't be back until like either the trail end of the season or potentially the rest of the season, so that's a pretty big blow as well.
2 center backs out is the main thing to me. Like, you can afford to lose 1 wing back, but when you lose the entire core of your defense, Alisson's just going to be a sitting duck back there, I feel like.
Basically.
In some games, like Champions League and maybe FA Cup quarters.
It's just him and the man that runs like a giraffe, Matip. Like,
Matip's the man, though. Like,
he does decent for how goofy he is, but he does it.
And wasn't Arnold also out for a little bit? That was like a couple weeks, though. Not like anything crazy, thankfully.
Yeah, it was just like a little tweak when he was running, but shouldn't be too long.
And then you still also have Thiago, who's still out for a couple weeks, and
Fabinho, he's supposed to be coming back from what I've seen after the international break, so that'll be really nice because then he could slide back to center back 2.
Klopp's got to be losing his mind.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect example of like what I know. At least Andy and I have mentioned multiple times. The overarching theme of the season is who's going to have the most depth, right? We all knew that these players are going to put themselves through a heck of a lot of physical trials, challenges. When the season was so close compared to the last one, they're not only going to have lingering effects through this season, but then you think Euros are coming up, right? Winter World Cup's coming. There's a lot of soccer that's just going to be back to back to back to back for all of these athletes who have never had to put themselves through that before. And Liverpool is the perfect example of almost like a just incredible disaster. It sucks. Yeah. And sadly, it may not be the only team that goes through this throughout this time.
And it's happening before all the big tournaments too.
Right.
So how's it going to affect?
That's a key factor.
How's that going to affect the European tournaments? With Virgil being out, it's a big hole in the back line internationally for their team. Joe Gomez is like a stable in English defense that's non-existent.
On the flip side, though, for the club status, right? Would you rather have these injuries happening now or in April? Absolutely, right now.
Yeah, get them out of the way.
So I think that's a huge factor too, because you are going to get some of these guys back, and hopefully when that happens, you guys are still have weathered the storm enough, right? Yeah. You're still in third right now. Mm-hmm. If you guys can weather that storm and still be in the running, who knows what will happen when you get healthy, and who knows what other teams are going to get injured too.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the table, you have Leicester on top right now, Tottenham in second, Liverpool probably is going to fall below Chelsea. Chelsea looks like they're getting their act together.
Yeah.
And we have City, who you can just expect to be the top. I like it. And Arsenal, I don't know. Maybe they can stay below. Maybe they can stay in the top 8. I think that should be the goal right now for Liverpool. If you can stay on the top side of the table, you'll be in good shape. Stay above Wolves.
Yeah. Portugal, right?
Yeah, Portugal. And see what happens if Wolves get injured. You know, not only are they screwed, but Portugal's screwed.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So everyone, I think, is tired right now, and we'll see how it all plays out. But
ultimately, though, I mean, I think this for Liverpool, at least speaking specifically, I think that this is the best time to do that without having fans. The league is just turned upside down completely right now in terms of results are kind of changing completely in terms of what you would expect in certain games. So I feel like if there's a time to rally behind a team in order to be able to move forward, and still do well with missing those key players. I think now is the time to do that when all the results are still kind of all over the place, with teams trying to figure out how to weather the storm of playing without fans.
No, yeah.
Definitely.
I think it's going to come into play is, can Chelsea get their act together? Can Man City get their act together? And will Arsenal get their act together? If that happens by Christmas break, if Liverpool are just behind them and still above them, I don't think Liverpool should fret too much. But Virgil's out for the year. Joe Gomez looks like he's going to be out, like you said, for quite a while.
Yeah.
So at least you have your wing backs that can help you get forward and produce that offense. But we'll see with defense. My question to the panel, I'll start with you, Tyler, because me and Frankie talked about it the other night. But would you make an emergency signing, or would you weather the storm and wait till January transfer window?
I don't know that I would consider an emergency signing, but what I would do, and I mentioned this to you before, I would look for a loan move in January. And perfect example, I know last season Bayern Munich was having issues in the right back depth, and we loaned Odriozola from Real Madrid. It was literally a 6-month loan, and he went right back to Real Madrid. I think something similar to that is what you guys are going to have to do, maybe 1 or 2 moves, or if there's someone out there that you were considering to begin with, go ahead and pull the trigger in January while you can.
Yeah.
And the only thing that is going to be interesting is if I'm the other team, for whoever you're trying to buy from, if I'm the seller, I'm definitely going to sell high because you guys are going to be desperate.
Yeah,
they know
absolutely.
I also don't think it would be a bad thing to also purchase someone and maybe like push out another player like a Matip or someone who hasn't exactly gotten a lot of playing time at Liverpool. So they could go out and buy someone pretty good instead of just looking for a loan move. But loan move at the very least in these climates probably makes the most sense.
So you'd wait till January as well?
Yeah.
Frankie?
Do you think January is the best move, or would you rely on some youth? Right, you guys have some good prospects too.
Yeah. That young center back played well the other day.
I think the hard part is that Klopp also said that he does want to build the youth at Liverpool too. So I think that's he kind of has to factor that in the back of his mind when he makes the decision too.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like what I think like will happen and what I would like to see happen, I think, like you guys are saying, like I think Klopp is more confident in like the youth players and who we have available than I am.
Than probably the public.
But I could very well see them just riding the storm with who we have now. But ideally, I'd like to see them, get like a lone player in who's like a senior center back, because we're very desperate for them right now.
Yeah.
Do you have anyone in mind? Have you thought about that at all?
Not like in depth, just like in a perfect world, like I'd love to see like Skirtle come back, or somebody like that.
Yeah.
Just like
Lovren,
just to bring him back.
Right?
Lovren, I don't think it's gonna happen just because he seems to be doing fairly well in Zenit, and he just got there.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening.
To me, personally, if January, January's still what? 60 days away, 70 days
6
away.
weeks away.
Yeah, so that's the good thing is that Joe Gomez getting hurt now is better than Joe Gomez getting hurt the same week as Virgil. But I don't think it's a bad idea either to look maybe at a free agent that's old in England that at least can be a part of the training squad more than anything else.
Yeah.
Like I was saying to Frankie the night, Ashley Williams is available. He's 36 and he's not worth a damn. But if you can get him in the squad, it's only going to strengthen kind of like the players who maybe their confidence.
Even a loan move for like a Rudiger or something like that would be a pretty good deal. Yeah. I don't know if they're still looking to do that or not, but that's remains to be seen.
For me as a fan, like I'll take whatever help I can get at this point, just to feel more confident in what's going to happen and to not see more injuries get piled up.
Well, the good thing is you guys are an offensive team anyways, and you have one of the best goalkeepers, if not the best goalkeeper in the world, subject to debate, with Neuer normally. So
like your little asterisk
there.
Normally.
Yeah. Hey, I think Liverpool, if they can weather the storm, they'll be fine. If not, and once again, if Chelsea get their act together, if Everton perform well still, Arsenal get their act together, City get their act together, maybe we're talking a whole different situation in January, looking at the transfer window and saying, how many people do Liverpool need to buy?
Well, I think, too, there's an important factor, and we'll probably touch on this a little bit more here in a little bit, but I think you mentioned these big-name teams. If this team gets their act together, if that team gets their act together, but there's a lot of teams towards the top of the table that aren't usually there.
Yeah.
What happens if one of them stays there?
Yeah.
That could be a huge factor, too.
There's still a lot of games to be played.
So much footy left.
We've all forgotten about Manchester United conveniently.
The FA Cup hasn't started.
What happened last year, right? Man U decided to start playing after 2020 started last year, so they could be doing the same thing again.
And also, a listener to the same token, weren't playing that well in the second half, so that could also be a factor coming into it later.
And another thing that could play into everyone's situation here in the whole world is, what if there's another lockdown? What if COVID?
That's a huge
COVID
point,
spiking back up? Liverpool could be healthy by February whenever football gets started again, right? So we'll see how it all goes.
Lot to unpackage there, but also, so kind of segueing into our next point, a big reason for the injuries that Klopp was kind of alluding to in a lot of his press conferences was the notion of we don't have enough substitutions, and that all these teams are playing in various competitions, and that there aren't enough, that they should be making more subs to protect the players. So now you have this debate that came up between whether we should have gone with the 5 substitutes that we did for Project Restart, or if we should stick to the 3. And there's a lot of different variations to the debate. If you go to the 5, that definitely puts a little bit more of a benefit to the bigger clubs like your Liverpool, your Cities, your Uniteds that do have a lot more depth compared to other teams in the league. But also at the same time, we have players dropping left and right at the likes of Liverpool, so it kind of sparks this debate. So I'll kind of throw one of you guys under the spot, and I'll start with you, Frankie, first, since you're probably the one that's affected by this the most so far. Do you think that we should go to a 5 substitute system, or should we keep it at 3 subs? What's your take on that?
I think, at least for another season, keeping it at the 5 would be a good move, just because we've clearly seen the physical repercussions of post-COVID and during COVID on all the teams and the players, and I think just putting it back down to 3 is only going to make the situation worse.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, like you're saying, like other teams have more advantage over others with 5 versus 3 subs. But I mean, if I'm a player, I'm gonna rather have more people that are gonna help me not get injured, rather than just taking the brunt of it.
Yeah. Cam, how do you feel about that? Because I know you generally support more mid-table, lower-table teams.
Appreciate that call out. Yeah. So. My teams don't usually in Europe, so it affects me differently, right? My team's players usually are on the international stage, like a lot of the bigger clubs. I think it's important to remember that Project Restart, the goal with the 5 subs was because it was summer and it was hot and the water breaks, right? So that's why they did it. They did it with fatigue and to help injury and the form of what time of year are they playing. I think maybe the FA and other football associations around the world could have looked at maybe doing 5 subs up until maybe December because of all the back-to-back and how fast the season turnover was. I don't think it would have been a bad idea if you're looking at the players' benefits. And I'm sure players' associations are probably fighting for these things.
Yeah.
And if they weren't before, they might be now. Right. So, but I think it's really important to remember that the summer transfer, or the summer football and Project Restart was why they did 5 subs. So when you look at it from that point, I get it, and I like having 3 subs. I think that's better for football. I don't want to see soccer get to the point where it's like baseball now, where there's pinch hitters, every time there's a new pitcher, right? So I don't want to see that out of soccer, but I definitely think right now, when you look at the Liverpool situation, there's a big case on why they should have kept 5 subs, and I wish they would have done it, for the good of the game. But personally, that's not why I think it was there. I think it was there for fatigue and heat and things like that, but I definitely think
I think when Project Restart first started, I was of the opinion that I think it should stay at 3.
Yeah.
Because I had felt that that's better for the overall competitive side of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Now I flipped. I think 5 makes more sense, and there's a couple reasons why. Obviously, the case with Liverpool and the health issues, right? But also it's not unified across the board, not even in Europe, right? I'm pretty sure isn't England the only one that's on 3? Most other countries are on 5. I know Germany's. I'm pretty sure they're running 5, and so that affects things like Champions League and Europa, because if Bayern Munich is substituting 5 people every game, and Liverpool is substituting 3 people every game, and we meet in the round of 16, well, who has the advantage, right? That's a huge advantage there, and I think there's a couple pros on the 5 sub rule. I mean, it's not just health, but think about, if Liverpool's ahead 4-0 and they've only made 3 subs, the next 2 are going to be youth prospects, and you get to see the youth, and I'm a huge fan of youth. On the flip side, if you're Jose Mourinho and you're up by 1 goal and you've only used 1 sub, you can make 4 subs every minute once the 90th minute starts and the clock's over.
Yeah.
So I think there's pros and cons to both. But I think because we've had these seasons so compact, and we're going to continue to have compact seasons with not just going through December, but again, when we get to Euros and then the following season and going back and forth, there's a compact schedule for the world of soccer for a long time, and I think we need to have 5 subs at least until probably the end of this season, just to give some of these guys a break. But regardless of what we do, I think it needs to be the same across all competitions.
Yeah. I think that's good. I think that's a good point that you make there. That all of the associations from each country needs to maybe get together because the situation everyone's in, with major tournaments coming up. Andy, what about
I
you?
think with my point on this one, the only thing that I have a hard time getting behind is the fact that Klopp and Pep both are managers that said that they wanted the 5-sub rule and they blamed that rule, but they didn't make their full substitutions in their previous 2 games. So I think in that game it was Liverpool versus City. I think Klopp, one of them made 1 substitution, the other one only made 2, so they didn't even use their full 3 substitutions. So that's the only thing that I don't like about that. I see what you guys are saying in terms of the 5, but I do think that does pose more of a benefit to the bigger teams, and that would affect Man U as well, because being able to bring on, like, imagine being Chelsea and being able to bring on 5 stellar players up top, and you have Pulisic that could come off the bench. You have Mason Mount might come off the bench. Whoever, tons of good players that could come off the bench, and that does give you a pretty good advantage. But you could also argue to the opposite coin. You have teams like the Bundesliga. They're currently doing the 5 substitutions, like you mentioned. And when you look at the table, it looks about right in terms of Bayern and Dortmund are both up top. Leipzig's up there as well, and the Premier League is down to 3, and the table is kind of all over the place. So could those be related or not?
Yeah, and if I was United right now, I'd be dying to have 5 subs again.
I'm dying for anything, man.
Yeah.
5 subs. I'm like Frankie at this point. I'll
I'm
take
kidding.
anything.
My team's not get relegated.
But you make an interesting point, because I don't even know that Bayern has used all of their subs there. I mean, I could be fact checked on that. I'm fairly certain that we're on the 5 subs, but I'm not guaranteeing that. But I'm fairly certain we are, and I thought I had read somewhere one of Klopp's statements was that the other leagues were running 5 subs, and that's where I'm getting that from.
Which makes sense.
But either way, that's an important point. Why implement the rule if you're not even going to use it? Is it just to have the option, and then you can really get into the analytics of, well, who is using the rule? Are the big squads even using it? Is it the low squads?
Yeah.
So yeah, they are.
But you could also argue too that they're saying that in order to give another scapegoat that's not like directing things at particular players. The politics of being a manager, that can be part of it too. But I do think 5 subs would be beneficial for everybody, just because I feel like the season is so compact. But I do think the bigger teams would benefit more from that than it would from the smaller teams.
Would.
So.
You're not going to see,
and you wouldn't see Villa maybe.
You're not going to see West Brom making 5 solid subs.
Because the teams that aren't playing in like at least the Champions League and the Europa League, other than the occasional like bi-weekly cup game that they play, they have like a week until their next game.
Yeah.
So that does benefit them too. So
yeah, and I think to play devil's advocate too, to err against the 5 subs for once, I think there are also other things that can be done aside from just 5 subs, right? You look at it at a team level, and you don't have to have the same practice routine, right? You can have an extra day off. You can do different things, because you look at most of the injuries that are happening around the world of soccer and all sports, really. It's mostly tissues and ligaments, which are the things that are getting strained from fatigue, right? So extra rest, extra ice baths, things like that might help, right? Guys like Mo Salah don't need extra practice if their ligaments are getting weaker, right? So I think that could be one too, or the league cut out the Carabao Cup or something like that. If you wanted to take one of the extra tournaments that England has that no one else does, you could cut that out if you wanted to. I'm not saying that's the best thing. My point that I'm making is that there are other options that can be taken too.
Yeah, 100%. Because then you also could argue like a lot of these international competitions, like is the UEFA Nations League really even that necessary?
Yeah, why have that
at this
right
point?
I think
just have your quality.
And players are speaking out against that too.
And I think the hardest thing when it comes to taking away games that are being played is how are the teams being impacted financially right now?
That's a huge point. Yeah.
When you have an FA Cup and a Carabao Cup and a League Cup, what have you, you're giving teams like Brighton to make money when they don't have fans there. United reported they lost $70 million during COVID already.
The lower leagues get involved in those too, right?
Yeah,
QPR makes money off of a Carabao Cup. So that's
no, we don't, because we lose.
I'm trying to help you out.
Trying to get that 5th round money.
But to be fair, I'm just saying, like, you have to look at the financial implications of taking away games, because right now there's no fans at the games. Television is like the best thing right now for and club shops. Like, there's only people making money right now. So I don't know. I just don't know if there is the right answer right now. There's so many games, back to back.
It's just an impossible situation. It just truly doesn't feel like there is one solution that could fix everything.
Sorry,
obviously, it's just
a
matter of just what the teams can all decide together. But I do think something needs to happen, because I do think the lower teams are starting to struggle.
I think the players are going to start doing something about it. If the leagues aren't going to take advantage of it, you got to be careful. The players can say something. And they have
because I don't think there is like a players association for footballers, is there?
There might not be a worldwide one, but there should be.
There's some sort of league. Every league has an association. Because I'm trying to think about like the timeline of how this is really truly being affected. That 2022 World Cup, that's being played in the winter of 22, correct?
Yeah, but you have
in
Euros
Qatar.
in summer.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So think about this, right? We're getting towards the end of 2020. These guys have already played up to where they're at now. We're going to go through 2021 as assuming this is all assuming there aren't any more spikes or anything, and then we're going to go straight from the end of Champions League in May to Euro 2021. They're not going to get a break, and then they're going to start that 2021 season. Have that. They're not going to get a break until the summer of 2022.
Newcastle's going to be on top of the league in 2022.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. They're not going to get a break until that summer.
Yeah, the big teams are always, they're going to be hurting from this. And hopefully they can find the right formula. But I think at the same time, as a fan, I'm excited to see all these games back to back. But I do want to see the players there that are supposed to be there.
Yeah,
and also having football back is super important for all the fans and everyone in the local cities too. Just because this is something to look forward to in dark times. So it's you want to have all this back as well. So
in hindsight, it's a good thing that World Cup's going to be in the winter and not that summer.
Yeah,
think about that too. That's crazy.
But anyway, there's a rabbit hole that we could obviously go down forever. There's tons of different ways that you could take it, but it's interesting to see how COVID's taking an impact on the league. But I think we want to segue now over to who we've been most excited to see this season.
Yeah.
Anybody want to go first?
I'll start us off with
Liverpool.
No. maybe a month or so ago I could have said that, but not now.
You guys are still going to get first this year.
I've been pretty excited to watch Leicester actually. I mean they're top of the league, so what they're doing is obviously getting results for them, and I think just a few pieces that they've gotten like Castagne. Has really done for the team what they needed, just creating chances, keeping them just more stable throughout games consistently, and it shows. I mean, a player that I've been following for a while is Tielemans. Just to see him actually getting quality, consistent starting time in the Premier League and doing well has just been great to see for me personally.
Yeah, he scored today for the Netherlands too.
You
mean Belgium?
Actually. Or Belgium? Yeah, sorry.
We also have a young winger who I can't recall his name off the top of my head. He played a nice assist ball to Vardy. I think Liverpool or I think Leicester on the right track. They got the good formula going. So I think they'll be top four with how teams are shaking out right now for a while. I don't know if they'll end up there, but
they'll blow it at the end like they did last year.
Wouldn't be surprised. Anything can happen.
That alley. But no, I definitely think they're excited to watch right now. I definitely agree. And I love Schmeichel. Schmeichel's probably one of my favorite goalies in the Premier League.
Vardy just can't be stopped, man. That guy's just like a Premier League striker through and through.
For real.
It's crazy. It really is.
Yeah.
Tyler? Andy?
Yeah, I mean, so at the beginning of the season, I think I was obviously excited to see what was going to happen with Chelsea and also Tottenham with Gareth Bale coming back. But honestly, as of late, I've really been impressed by Southampton. And, Ward-Prowse, man, he is... I really like this guy. This is something you called for a long time now. I don't listen to your Grealish stuff. I'll let all that play out. But I hear you on Ward-Prowse, and I really enjoy the way that he plays the game. His free kicks are fun to watch.
He's kicked it up a new gear this year.
Yeah, he really has. And I think Southampton, the way that they not only have gotten off to a good start this season, but they really ended last season on a high note too. And I think that's carried over. I wasn't sure how losing Højbjerg was going to impact him. And I think that's been what's given Ward-Prowse the opportunity to step up and have that role, and I think it's worked wonders for them, and they're sitting in 4th place right now, and I think that's pretty impressive. They, when we talk about is Man City going to get it together, is Man U going to get it together, where's Arsenal going to be, I think you got to think about teams like Southampton and even Everton that are up there right now, and whether or not they're going to stay in there. I think you're excited about one of those teams too.
They even won Southampton. I forgot who they played the last week, but they played without Danny Ings and they still won it, a pretty commanding win. I'm pretty sure it was like 3-0 or maybe 2-1 or 2-0, something like that.
I think Southampton has a good situation going on. They're a mid-table team. They don't get a lot of press. With them not being in Europe right now, like other teams, they don't have to prep for who's going to be playing and when are they going to be playing for us. They're going to have the same guys in their starting 11, unless injury, like Ings, who should be back shortly. But they have a great midfield. They have a great attacking midfielder. They have a good back line. They have a great goalkeeper, Premier League guy. McCarthy's been back there for years now with Palace and Southampton. So I think they have the right formula to stay on the top side of the table as long as they can stay healthy and as long as teams like United and like City keep slacking to get points,
Yeah.
they're gonna look good and they're gonna stay
Yeah.
with it.
Jay
Keep
Adams
in
just
mind,
needs to
too,
keep linking up with
Jay Adams
Danny
looks
Ings
great.
right now. Jay Adams having a stellar season so far, and it's mostly with his connection with Danny. So
Yeah.
as long as Danny can come back and they can keep that gel, and they'll be
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, and keep in mind too, United and City both have a game in hand. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
they do.
have to look right.
It's fun to bash
right?
them though.
That's
Yeah, but assume where's City sitting right now? Assume they gain 3 more points. Where will they be?
Yeah, they'll be 5th place.
Right.
So,
So that I think that's important to
And
know
you know,
too.
and what's even spicier with that thought is that that game that United are down is against Villa.
Interesting.
So that's a big game down for them, and
7-2.
that's a game that they're going to have to really win. But I would say for me, speaking of Villa, the team that I'm actually most excited to see so far this season has been Aston Villa. It's been crazy to see additional attacking options besides Grealish over at Aston Villa. Ollie Watkins you got over there. They just bought Bertrand Traore from I think it was Lyon or Lille, one of the Lyon I believe.
Yeah.
So that was a very good addition to the team, and Ollie Watkins just looks like a Premier League striker right now.
and they got a goalie.
Yeah.
Emilio Martinez from Arsenal.
Martinez.
So
they did the right things over the break.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tyrone
and they
Mings.
picked up Barkley
They did.
too, right?
Hmm?
Yep.
yeah,
Did they pick up
Ross
Barkley?
Barkley
Yep,
on loan.
Ross
Yeah.
Barkley's
Some
a
more
huge
depth in
loan.
midfield.
That was massive for their midfield. So I mean they have a lot more options now, and it's nice to see Grealish play a different role at Aston Villa versus him just taking the ball all the time and just trying to do all these crazy bending shots. He's now more of a playmaker and occasionally getting himself into good opportunities. So I've liked the development in his game since they brought those new
I
players.
think Ollie Watkins is a pleasant surprise for all of us.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He killed it at Bristol City. Not everyone knows much about Bristol City or what they bring to the table, but he learned a lot, and he's played in the English leagues for a few years now, and he's stronger than I expected him to be in the Premier League.
Yeah.
He's kind of bodying defenders I didn't
And
expect.
he's still 25. I mean, he's
Yeah.
just about to start his prime in the next couple of years or so, and he's in the Premier League now, gaining all this confidence.
And-
Huge.
Yeah, and I think it's refreshing to see someone who's doing well, who's like a Vardy, where maybe not as late as Vardy, but he's
Yeah.
he's got the true storyline of an English footballer.
Yeah.
Like played the league, got the Premier League by the time you're 27. Like that's the dream of most of these guys.
You can't dislike that.
So
No,
and,
for sure.
you know, and then you got guys like Mings who's getting international appearances. Hopefully he can stay healthy
Yeah.
because he'll be important to Villa. But Emilio Martinez, I think, and Ross Barkley really changed the confidence.
Ross Barkley gave them a very good segue player into utilizing all of those attacking options, and I think that was such a huge loan and probably one of the best loan deals of the year.
And it was a last day deal.
Far.
I think
Yeah.
they're just also playing with more confidence,
Yeah.
right? And it started with staying in the league, and not getting relegated, and then having that followed by the moves that they made, and it's like a new hope. Forgive my Star Wars reference,
No,
but
yeah.
like they had a new locker room in there, and that's what happens.
And it's
When you
more
see
inspiring
that
more
goal-
confidence too in Grealish because now Grealish is playing for the international team. You got
Yeah.
Mings who's also playing with the international
Yeah.
team. A lot of the players on their team are starting to get good visibility.
Yeah, I think it's good for Villa because they're a massive club. They're supposed to be the team of Birmingham, not Wolves.
Yeah.
So it's good to see this tension that's going to be happening in the city whenever fans come back. It's going to be crazy.
I like seeing John Terry also have a little
Yeah.
tie to this good team right now too.
Yeah.
Gotta say
And
it. Gotta say it.
I think the crazy thing about Aston Villa is they have so many players that you would never talk about.
Mhm.
Like they have a Matt Target out wide who plays very hard for them every game. Emilio Martinez is a goalie who no one cared about until he won the FA Cup with Arsenal last year. So
Trezeguet fell off the radar for a while.
Yeah.
Now he's on that team and he plays very well.
yeah, and
you know?
they have a strong enough bench that I think that they won't be in the conversation of relegation. But we'll see if everyone stays healthy. Like I said, if Mings stays healthy, that's huge for them. Grealish gets hurt, who knows? Barkley gets hurt, who knows? Right? Chelsea's probably kicking themselves right now, giving them Barkley. So we'll
I
see.
think Chelsea's okay.
They're just fine.
They just
Now,
gotta get the chemistry
I guess
going.
that poses a good question though. If you're Ross Barkley, do you still try to make it back into the Chelsea lineup, or do you stick it out at somewhere like Villa, where it's kind of a
Where you're
risk
enjoying
because
yourself.
how long are they going to keep that form for multiple seasons? You know?
Yeah, and that's gonna be a
And,
That's
Bar-
a good
and,
question.
and,
And that-
Barkley
that
was also
depends
at
on
a
the
team like
person.
Everton too, so he wanted to take that move
stride
up,
forward.
you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I think it depends on the person. Me personally, I would rather have the playing time and
I
play at
agree.
Aston Villa
And he'd be valued there too.
and
I mean,
have
he's
that value. And imagine, because obviously everyone wants to win trophies, but imagine if Villa in however many years Barkley's got left, if they took that step and made it into a qualifying group or into Europa or something, imagine how valuable that would be. But I don't know.
I mean, on the flip
I'm
side
not
too,
sure.
you could say that he has a great season with Villa, and Chelsea recognizes that, and maybe
Yeah.
by the time the next season comes around, they could off a midfielder or two, making room for him,
Yeah.
and he wants to come back. But a lot of things can happen.
It also depends too, because I bet if Grealish were to leave, I'm sure Barkley would probably look elsewhere too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of factors.
There's
that
a
go
lot
into
of
that
moving
decision,
parts
that's for sure.
that Aston Villa team, and maybe come Nay, it's gonna be a crazy topic.
If they can hold Grealish and sign
Yes.
Barkley on a permanent move and make like one more good a good defensive transfer or something.
We're gonna have all of when we hit next season's transfer rumors, the entire Aston Villa squad's gonna be on our flopper
Yeah,
flourish.
I think of that. Like Tyrone Mings is gonna be a hot piece of the pie. Like
I think he needs to stick it out with Villa though, man. Because I don't want all
For a
these
little
center
bit
backs to be
longer.
making all these like big transfer moves and like going too
maybe
soon.
maybe
Exactly.
Liverpool loans him in January.
Exactly.
maybe no, then he gets hurt.
Yeah.
No, but I think Villa's an interesting
Yeah.
piece of the whole Premier League puzzle right now, and I think it'll be exciting to see where they end up. But
Who's your team?
Yeah, how about you, Cam?
Palace, but that's because I like Palace.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Cam with Palace.
Shocker.
Okay,
Don't say as he sucks.
2. Yeah, don't.
Who's Ezzy?
Oh, too
Yeah.
easy.
Too easy.
Two teams. I'll say 2. One, I like Palace because Palace, for the first time, as far as I can remember, they're not aiming for 40 points and to not be relegated.
Yeah.
They look like they're actually fighting for something, so it's interesting. And Aze's there, so like that's personally why I'm excited to watch them. Zaha looks good, but my team right now, probably most exciting, and it's a little childish to go. It's a safe bet. Tottenham.
Yeah.
Tottenham's great to watch.
I can see that. Yeah.
Harry Kane's
How
got
can
a
you
new
not be
gear,
watching?
man.
Well, I think with them,
Heung-min
it's how
Son.
long can they keep this form up, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Harry Kane and Son have been on fire the whole season, right?
Son's been on fire for years.
Well, yeah, but specifically this season, go look at the leaderboards, and
I
they're
know,
both
it's
sitting right there.
crazy.
And that's nuts.
How about the
to me.
fact that Ndombele is playing?
Yeah.
They got
Good for
production from people who last year were talking about being ousted.
Bale's
just kinda-
actually
I'm
getting
just-
some
I'm
time.
becoming-
Joe Hart's their backup goalie.
I'm
Like, they're
becoming a little
good
bit more
ends.
hesitant about Tottenham, just because we've seen this before. You know, when they made that big run into the Champions League final, when they played Liverpool, we've seen them in this type of gear before, where they look like they're going to take the next step. But then there was a setback, you know, with losing Pochettino, that they lost their form and like. You know, so I wonder how long can Jose keep that dressing room, because he's always been a 3-year manager, and then usually by then he finds a new project. So I know he's just kind of getting started with Tottenham, but I'm just wondering, is this project still is this form and the way that he's taking it?
I think they have an identity. That's what I'm excited to watch.
Yeah.
You have a midfield that's strong. You have Ndombele, who's got confidence because of Holberg in the middle there.
Yeah.
You have wingers that are playing freely because they don't really have to worry about trekking back right now, which has been a problem for years for
Yeah.
Tottenham. They can't defend.
Yeah.
So
They bring Bale back.
yeah, Bale.
What more can you
Bale.
ask for?
I
as
think
first
Bale
man?
is more of like an uplifting
Modric.
piece.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like
That's
Yeah,
it.
Modric, that's a
You never
cultured
know.
buy. That's
Yeah,
a,
it's
that
a-
would be fun.
yeah, like
For sure.
whenever fans come back, that place will sell out at
Yeah.
25% or
I think-
whatever, at however much money they need.
The
to
one thing I
spend
will
on
say
that.
is Jose's done a very good job at picking players to boost the squad that benefit Harry Kane's game, because when Harry
Yeah.
Kane wasn't playing well, Tottenham was not
He's got
playing
that
well
false
at all.
number 9 role right
Oh,
now
and,
too.
and it was asking a lot of Son to play that role
Second,
and
yeah.
hold all that. So.
It's Jose's second season with Tottenham.
Correct,
Yeah.
All right.
yes.
Well, if they don't do anything this season, then we know it's going to be over next season. So.
Yeah. But they got that false 9 now, playing
Yeah.
like kind of like the Liverpool style with Firmino and with Kane, and then letting Son run through the
Yeah,
channels.
it's interesting.
It's just exciting to watch. They have a good competition at right back with
Yeah.
Aurier. So
Reguilon's playing very
yeah,
well on the
Reguilon.
left side. He's
Yeah, he's
attacking.
been
He's
great.
been getting some great assists. You know,
yeah.
huge signing for them.
Yeah, so I don't necessarily think they're my favorite team to watch, but I think it's exciting to watch it kind of play out.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Once again, though, they have to stay healthy.
Yeah.
Or anyone can be the next Liverpool right now.
Do
And
you,
I don't
think,
mean it the wrong way, but anyone could be
Yeah.
down their whole
Mhm.
defense because of all the games being played.
do you think there's any shot Dele Alli makes it back into the lot?
No. Dele goes on loan in January to like
Interesting.
Newcastle or someone mid-table, and I think he's gonna enjoy it, and he's gonna maybe be like the next Ross Barkley.
Like
where-
Barkley, yeah.
Or
it's
like,
it's
or
like-
he'll try to go to a
it's
club like a
play.
Villa or like something like that
Yeah.
to get
Could
more
you
of a free
imagine?
role.
Dele
Yeah.
Alli at Villa. Oh,
Yeah,
that'd be-
it's pretty crazy. Look, I got a question though, and it was not. We didn't bring this
Discuss
up at all
this.
in terms of planning on. I just have to ask Andy. So.
Okay. Ooh.
How long do you give Oli before you sack him?
I mean, here's the thing. Like, I think we should have done this a long time ago, because I don't think he is the best long-term solution. But I don't think that they're mad about it right now. That's the
Right.
I
problem.
have a
I think it's
board.
more of an issue. The board are still satisfied with where we're at, because
All
they're
right.
what they keep saying is that they're in it for the long haul and that always got a long-term vision. So I just don't think that no matter how bad we play this season, unless like we're in the relegation
Right.
zone, I just don't think they're gonna sack
I
him.
have a better question. How long do you keep James and Pogba?
Sell both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sell both of them, because I mean, here's the thing. Like
They
Daniel
just hinder
James,
your
like.
ability, I feel.
Daniel James, other than the first like couple weeks that he was at Manchester United, he hasn't looked like a Premier League player for us, or at least not a Manchester United
He's a
quality
cup
player
player.
for the direction that we're trying to be. But I feel like he should go to a club like Leeds, where he would get the starting role and he would acclimate to a squad and have a little bit more of a maybe a better system that would suit him. So I think Daniel James would be good, and Pogba, same thing. I mean, he just doesn't fit our squad.
Yeah, I think for you
That's the
guys,
problem.
and we mentioned this before, I actually don't think, I mean, I don't know that everyone needs to be sold and sacked or whatever. I think there's some changes that are much simpler that could fix it. I think you play Cavani and cross the ball, and I think you guys start winning games.
There's a ton. I mean,
When
So
will
you
that
need
happen?
people with quality crossing.
That's what I'm saying.
the thing
But
is,
Ole doesn't change any of the
the
tactics.
problem
so it
is
never
Ole
happens.
doesn't have an identity for us. The only thing he's changed is he's changed our formation and given a couple more players a little bit more of a free role. But the problem is, like, we don't have an identity. We have Bruno, who maybe does a high press up top, but Rashford and whoever the other winger is, or Greenwood, they're not high pressuring as well. Or, like, we don't cross the ball, we only cut in and dribble and shoot, so we just don't have much of an identity. That's the problem.
Rashford is the man.
If
Yeah.
Ole's a
Oh, yeah,
long-term plan, then it's either very muddy or he's like a master planner. You know,
Exactly.
That
Like,
no one else knows what's going on.
You don't look at Ole and be like, oh, that's the type of style of football that they're trying to be
Yeah.
playing. You know, you just
No.
don't see that from him, and that's what I feel like we lack. And I think that's why we need a Pochettino, someone who is a good tactician that will actually like train the squad and get the squad fit to play a specific style. Because I just feel like we're all like. Right now, I feel like Ole's trying to cater too much to specific individual players.
Yeah, we've said it off camera before. Like we feel like Ole is like the yes man for the club.
Yeah.
Just
And the board likes that.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think they have so
They're not,
many.
he's not going to go fight anybody. He's not going to go fight the board to get more
Mm.
money to sign Jadon
No.
Sancho. He's just going to say, we're in it for the long haul. He's just not going to say anything. And I think that's what they
Like,
like.
he wants to keep his job.
Nemanja Matic, that contract extension makes no sense to me. Like, just based on how much he plays, like, why would you extend until 2025? Like, there's just certain moves that are happening at Manchester United that I just don't get.
There's just no direction. That's
and
that's
that's
what it
There's
is.
no identity.
Yeah, but I mean, you have guys
But it
like
starts from the
Greenwood
top down. Like,
and
It does, yeah.
Rashford.
there's a ton of ways you can look at it. The players also need to play for the badge, but at the same time, how much is that of the manager not giving like them direction in terms of how to play? Does the board want to keep Ole because he's a yes man, or do they want someone that could?
But that's okay.
You know, like they have to figure out what they want.
That's not a bad thing if you can figure out the rest of it.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
you can be a yes man and a pushover manager and win trophies because you have the right skill in your
I
squad.
think what they're gonna do is they want to try to give him the time to get some players in that he wants, to give him to like someone long term, and like give him the players that he wants. And then if he doesn't do well, I feel like after next year, that's when they'll probably start looking. So I feel like we're gonna miss the Pochettino train, to be honest.
I can see that.
Yeah, but there's other trains that you guys will be able to
Yeah,
have.
absolutely.
You
I
think
know
about a guy like
Nagelsmann has also been in the
Andre Diaz
conversation.
Balde.
There's still a ton. So I mean, we're not
Yeah.
married to Pochettino by any means, but I just don't think Ole's going to be the one that's going to be the manager for us in the future.
Sir
So.
Alex is in the stand every game. Like, let me get back in that
Yeah.
coach.
Yeah.
Seriously. I would take it back too, man.
The
Thanks
Manchester badge has not been the same
No,
since Sir
it
Alex
definitely
had left.
hasn't.
No, definitely not. No.
That's a whole other topic, though.
Yeah.
Would
I
you
know.
take
Make
a
mistake.
manager
Yeah.
like PSG's manager if he got sacked?
Tuchel?
Tom was right. Tuchel, yeah.
I feel like we need someone like
Andre
pretty
Diaz
experienced at
does.
this point. I mean, Tuchel's a good manager. He did very well for Dortmund in terms of managing young kids. So I feel like there are relatable factors to Tuchel at Man U. But I feel like we need someone who is like more of like a strict like seasoned manager that like is ready to push us to that next level and
I
push the
think-
dressing
Well,
room.
when
think
you
it's
guys
really
got
the other way.
Mourinho, we
think,
saw what happened.
I actually, I think with Tuchel, I think there's two pieces to his resume. Is one, you hit it. He's managed youth at Dortmund, but two, he's managed a very entourage locker room at PSG and brought them to a Champions League final too. So I think he does have experience, and with the experience of Neymar is going to help if he were to manage someone like Pogba. But I actually, what Cam just said is I go the other way. I personally think, and this includes Pochettino, I think the best manager on the potential future market is Nagelsmann and what he's done at Leipzig. I really, really love what I've been seeing there. And
He looks fly too on the Champions League sideline too.
He's got some swag. He's young. He would be in it for the long haul. I think you just have to commit to someone and get that identity that you're not.
Like, I think the best managerial switch over the past 2 years for Premier League, strictly Premier League, has been probably like Mikel Arteta. Like, right now it's not panning out the way Arsenal wants it to, but they took someone who was under Pep's wing. He's a youthful coach. He played there. I think United needs some type of approach that's similar to that, whether it be he played at United, he gets it, or he's useful and he can get people behind him, like Nagelsmann. So I just think that there's a whole nother approach than that United doesn't even think about, and that's okay. But, you know, they just have a lot of problems that right now they could be top 4 still.
I just feel like
Even with Lindelof.
I just feel like the problem with Ole is that he's not creating a culture that's driving players to want to play for the badge. And I feel like that's what he does. He struggles to do, and that's just because he hasn't coached big clubs before. And I feel like that's what he's struggling to do with all the egos and his heart. I feel like the players are rallying behind him in terms of they don't want him to get fired, and that's why they have those good games when he's like on the hot seat. But I just think ultimately the players aren't playing for the team and they aren't playing with passion.
For him, yeah.
I just feel like there's just like something missing in that dressing room, and I feel like he's got to figure out what that
his
is.
role's already been kind of like established, so it's hard for him to really change it at this point.
Yeah,
it's not going to happen in my eyes.
Yeah,
we'll see. There's still a long season left ahead of us, and we'll see how everything will play out. But I'm hoping we'll turn it around.
It was great to get together.
This was
fun.
fun.
This live podcast. This is cool.
Happy birthday, Tyler.
Yeah,
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Best wishes to you and your squad. In healthy recovery.
Everyone else too, man. Hope everyone can stay healthy.
Yeah,
I never like seeing injuries.
Let's see what Villa does over the next few weeks. Let's see what happens going towards the holidays with all these games back to back.
Yeah.
Christmas season is going to be crazy.
Yeah. We appreciate you all joining us. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, whatever you like to use as your main channel. We appreciate everyone who's been listening for all these months now. We've been doing this since Project Restart, so what's that? At least half a year. So we're getting old. We're getting a little better, and I'm glad we can all get together.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thank you
Hope
so much.
Have a good rest
Take
of
it
your
easy,
day.
guys.
Till next time.
Bye.
See you.